Hey there, and welcome to The Explainer. Today, we're going to pull back the curtain on some science that's hiding in plain sight, all around you, every single day. I'm talking about the science of separation. And you might be surprised to find out you're already an expert at it.
I mean, come on, you've been there, right? You're about to dig into some delicious pilau, but you see those whole black peppers staring back at you. So what do? You carefully, patiently pick them out one by one. Of course you do.
Well, believe it or not, that simple little act, that is a legit scientific technique. It's a fundamental method of separation used in labs and factories all over the world. See? You're a scientist, and you didn't even know it.
So to really see how widespread this stuff is, we're going to tag along with two very curious kids, Molly and Vali. They're on a Bharat Ki Yatra, a big tour of India. And through their eyes, we're going to discover that science isn't just in a textbook. It is everywhere.
Okay, so our journey kicks off in Haryana, at their grandmother's farmhouse, surrounded by these huge, sweeping fields. And it's here that Molly and Vali get their first real-world lessons in separation, starting with something super basic, getting one solid away from another solid.
And this is exactly what Molly was doing with those peppercorns. Their nanny, their grandmother, points it out. It's called hand-picking. She does the same thing when she sorts through rice and wheat, pulling out tiny stones or other bits you don't want. It works great when the things you're removing look different and there aren't a ton of them.
A little later, they're out in the fields and they see farmers just whacking these big bundles of wheat stalks against a wooden log. Vali, being super curious, asks her uncle, "Hey, what are they doing?" And that question leads us right to our next method.
So her uncle explains that this is called threshing. All that force from hitting the stalks shakes the grains of wheat loose. I mean, can you imagine trying to pick every single grain out by hand? No way. This is a much, much faster way to get the good stuff out.
But see, solving one problem creates a new one. Now you've got this big pile of heavy wheat grains all mixed up with this light, flaky stuff called husk. There is way too much husk to hand-pick it all out. So, what do you do now?
The solution is it's brilliant. It's called winnowing. A farmer stands up on a stool, holds up a tray of the grain and husk mix, and just lets it fall. The wind catches the super light husk and blows it away, while the heavier grains fall straight down into a nice clean pile. You're using nature to do the hard work for you. How smart is that?
You know, this principle is so powerful it's actually woven into poetry and philosophy. The great poet Kabir used winnowing as a metaphor for life, for wisdom. He said we should be like the farmer, keep the good stuff, the virtues, and let the wind carry away the vices, the husk. Beautiful, right?
All right, the kids' journey rolls on, taking them west to the city of Ahmedabad. And here, the separation puzzles get a little more subtle. We're moving from the big open farm to the kitchen and even to the edge of the sea.
In the kitchen, Vali's mommy is making a sweet treat, meaty puri, and she's pouring flour through a sieve. You've seen this 1,000 times. The fine, powdery flour falls right through the little holes, but any bigger bits of bran get left behind. This is sieving. It's all about separating things based on how big their particles are. Their next stop is the Sabarmati Ashram, a really historic place. And thinking about the famous salt march that started there, Molly asks a pretty profound question. Where does salt even come from? The answer, seawater, opens up a whole new kind of problem. How on earth do you separate a solid that's completely dissolved in a liquid? You can't see it, you can't pick it out, so what do?
Well, the method is called evaporation. Basically, you let the sun do all the work. Seawater is gathered in these big, shallow pools. The sun heats the water up, and slowly, the water turns into vapor and just disappears into the air. And what gets left behind? Piles of pure, solid salt. It's a simple idea with powerful results.
From the west coast, our travelers shoot all the way down south to Puducherry. And here, a simple daily ritual, just making a cup of tea with their grandpa, their dada, unpacks another classic separation problem: how to get an insoluble solid out of a liquid.
So, Dada shows them a little trick. First, you let the tea just sit for a minute. The heavy tea leaves sink to the bottom. Then you can carefully pour the tea from the top. That's called decantation. But as Dada himself admits, it's not perfect. You almost always get a few stray leaves in your cup. The much better way? Filtration.
You just pour the tea through a strainer. The liquid goes through, the solid tea leaves get trapped. Simple, perfect.
And here's the really cool thing. Once you know about filtration, you start seeing filters everywhere. That dishcloth in your kitchen, that's a filter. That fancy tea bag, it's literally a bag made of filter paper. Even something like a fisherman's net is a type of filter. It traps the solid fish but lets the liquid water pass right through. It's all about the size of the holes.
Okay, we're on the final leg of the journey now. Molly and Vali head to Madhya Pradesh and then up to Shillong. And here, they stumble on two more totally unique ways to separate things, each one using a completely different scientific principle.
First, at a roadside restaurant, a dhaba, they watch someone making butter. This is churning. By stirring curd really fast, the lighter, solid butter clumps all together, separating itself from the liquid buttermilk. Then, in Shillong, they see a carpenter accidentally drop a bunch of iron nails into a pile of sawdust. The solution? A magnet. This is magnetic separation. He just swoops the magnet over the pile, and poof, the magnet snatches up all the iron nails, leaving the sawdust behind.
And that simple magnet trick, it gets scaled up in a massive way. Think about recycling plants. They use these enormous, powerful electromagnets on cranes to literally pull tons of iron and steel out of giant heaps of garbage. This lets us easily separate and reuse valuable metal, which is incredible for the environment.
So, after this amazing trip all across India, what have we really learned? We've seen that all these seemingly simple methods, things you see on a farm or in a kitchen, are actually the building blocks of how we organize and purify our entire world.
So let's do a quick recap. We saw hand picking, which is all about what something looks like. Winnowing uses weight and wind. Sieving uses particle size. Evaporation gets a dissolved solid out of a liquid, while filtration gets an undissolved solid out. And magnetic separation uses, well, magnetism. Each tool is perfect for a different kind of job.
And that right there is the big takeaway. These aren't just old-fashioned techniques. They are the fundamental ideas that allow us to have clean water, to recycle materials, and to make all the things we use every single day. They are foundational.
So I'll leave you with this one last thought. Your own body is a master of separation. The tiny hairs in your nose act as a filter for the air you breathe. Your kidneys are filtering your blood 24/7. Separation is happening in you and around you all the time. So think about it. What's the most important act of separation that you rely on every day? Thanks for joining me on The Explainer.